I would love it if, as you guys are working, if you think of something that's like, this would be really cool to share later on as part of a process, or even like this, there's like a story here of like how we're putting this together, and we can like take this little piece of the story out and tell it somehow.
The Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock, Sesame Street, The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. The characters and worlds brought to life under Jim Henson have inspired and influenced thousands of artists from all around the globe. Fan art of every single one of these beloved characters can be found all over the internet, but any true follower of the Frog knows the best place to see all of that is on the Muppet fan site, toughpigs.com.
For its 20th anniversary, over 6 dozen artists, designers, and industry professionals came together to create the Great Muppet Mural, a truly massive gathering of over 270 characters, crowded within an amalgamation of iconic locations that took over 8 months to put together.
But just how did this tremendous piece of art come together?
You guys can edit this, right?
Who contributed?
That sounds like a really cool idea, and that I would really want to be a part of that.
How easy was it to put together?
And it only took about maybe a month.
It'd be a documentary if it was easy!
And why is there a documentary about it?
We all have egos. We all have healthy egos. I'm not sure if you noticed, Dave.
I'm Lucas Ross, and this is the making of the Great Muppet Mural.
Dave Holteen Jr. is not only one of the great Muppet artists out there, but just as a graphic artist and illustrator in general, he's one of the best there is.
The benefit of being the guy who places everything is that my characters appear in every section.
Placing all the characters within the scene fell to assistant art director Dave Holteen Jr. But Jamie laid out a rough guide of where the characters could go, using clip art, old photos, and even action figure stand-ins.
The ugliest thing I've ever seen.
It was the hottest, most beautiful mess you could ever see.
But Dave found the massive setting difficult to manage perspectives and size relationships between the entire cast.
Yeah, and I think that perspective did 2 things. I think it helped it a lot, and I think it complicated it a lot.
Confounded by the spatial relationships, the team deferred to Noah Jennings for consultation.
I would show him some stuff every now and again. He's like, but you know, Big Bird is taller than Sweetums. He was like, I'm like, all of these are drawn in such weird styles that just trying to figure out what the heights are of these things, that has to go out the window.
Between the preliminary guide and additional notes from the team, Dave got more and more comfortable with the background file. He created color-specific layers and groups for quick identification and kept a daily log of everything that was done. Things were finally moving smoothly until he was confronted with the most barren area, the front and center of the whole mural.
And there is a lot of real estate in front of the stage, in front of the orchestra pit. I was not getting the sizing right, and Jamie was like, you gotta fudge with them. You really gotta kind of cheat with them. To really test our friendship and to piss him off, I put the theater seats for Mystery Science Theater 3000 because I was like, this'll fix it. And Jamie kind of was like, I don't think we're adding more here.
After Joel and the bots got the axe, Muppets began to really pile up everywhere. And even though Jamie had previously pushed the boundaries further and further before all the artists submitted their final work, space was at a premium.
When I finally got to put all the characters in together and saw them all together, even at that point, I didn't have the foresight, and I'm like, there's going to be a lot of room. There's going to be a lot of negative space, which is fine because his background deserves it. But then on like the 3rd or 4th day of placing, I'm like, I'm getting a little tight. I'm running out of room here.
With the light at the end of the tunnel finally starting to become visible, Jamie began to tighten up all the loose ends that needed to be addressed. Not opposed to Jamie's perfectionist standards, the team did, however, start to voice concern that at some point, the project would in fact be completed. A time to walk away was close at hand. And Jamie just kept taking on more and more.
Everyone else was like, maybe we shouldn't do it this way. Maybe we should just do it the regular way.
He kept putting on stuff himself. Like, he kept adding on. Like, well, you know, I just kind of want to do this one more character. I'm not doing any more, you guys. I'm not gonna place these for you. Okay, you need help placing? I'll just place half the characters.
There were some people that either we reached out to or we thought we reached out to and we didn't. I would get messages on my Facebook or show some art or something, and I'd get a like from an artist that I really like. And I'm like, Oh, where's their stuff? They're not on the spreadsheet. Oh, well, crap.
And I said, you could wait till Monday. And like Jamie was like, no, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to take care of it.
I'll probably get this done at the weekend. We just need to get this done because, oh my God. Plus, the way I got some of the files, there's some cleanup involved, but I said I would do all the cleanup. I said our team would do all the cleanup, which our team was just going to be me.
The team took losses from important contributors as well.
I just finished working on a pretty big project of X-Men collectible cards with my friend Scott. He knows how to wrangle people and work with a big bunch of people. He'll be very helpful and whatnot. And as it turns out, he was one of the artists on our list that we wanted to use. And then he went into the Naval Reserve. The hardest loss that we took was Stuart.
The pandemic had kind of made everybody realise that we don't need creatives in this world. And so there was no work at all. And so I thought, that's great. I've got all the time in the world. I could do something fantastic. I could really go to town on the characters I had.
He landed a big fish.
And I did and ah about whether or not I could make it work, but in the end, it just took away from it. And Jamie, to his credit, he was really supportive. He said, no, we can wait a bit longer. We could make this.
And if you get a gig during this pandemic, you take it.
Jamie believed one of the reasons so many artists agreed to come on board the mural project so quickly was because much of the world and its workforce was shut down due to the coronavirus pandemic. But as time went by, things changed for a couple key members of the team as well.
Everything was pretty much dry for a lot of us artists during COVID for a long time. So some people, like caricature artists like Kenny, got more work.
My actual work queue started just exploding, and I was getting tons and tons and tons of work.
I actually started to get more work freelance, and I got busy at my actual job that required me to spend extra time after hours to get stuff done. But my guilty conscience was like, this is what I'm doing. Well, you're not.
With a project as large as the Great Muppet Mural, problems were bound to arise. What the team was not expecting were just how many hurdles they'd need to overcome, especially so close to the deadline.
The final file ended up being close to 3 gigs.
The file was so large that it was starting to cripple people's computers.
It got so that even my behemoth of a computer was just like, yeah, no, you're gonna have to wait.
The working Photoshop file shared between the team had to be saved as a PSB, known as a large document format. Eventually, multiple versions had to be created and moved between Dave and Jamie just to manage character placement properly, but sharing those files became its own problem.
Oh my God, Dropbox. F***ing blows.
I was so disappointed that we chose Dropbox of all the things.
And Stuart said, do not use it. So then doing all this work and not getting any money, we both upgraded Dropbox just so that we would have the space to put this in there. And after a while, we were saving daily versions of the PSB. Yeah. And at some point, you were like, we can't do that anymore. We have to clear them out.
With everything finally in place, it was now crucial to make all the different artists' interpretations and variations in style look like they were supposed to all belong together.
One of Jamie's big concerns was he didn't want it to look like a collection of clip art.
Well, we want to make sure that all the shadows are right. We want to make sure the textures kind of match. We want to make sure that the layering is working in the perfect way so that, they all look like they belong in the same place. I'm going to add some sparkles over here. There's going to be a ray of light coming out of this side. And these are all things that, I would have not only never thought of, but even if I had thought of it, I would have thought, it's too much work. The point of this is just to get the characters onto the backdrop. It's done. And Jamie just didn't ever seem to be satisfied with that's good enough.
Early on, it was very important to Joe to not overburden the legion of artists who were all working completely pro bono with too many restrictions or instructions on how they should submit their work.
Because originally I had just this huge amount of directions, and Joe was just like, no.
As mentioned earlier, though, Stuart, who was originally tasked with lighting and color correction, was no longer available.
When Jamie said to me, if you could just help with advice, that did kind of make me feel like, okay, I can still have a little part in it. I can't claim responsibility or sign prints of it, but at least I can just help the guys out with something. obviously walking away from the project, I felt extraordinarily bad.
One of the biggest losses was the lighting and effects, because we didn't have him for that. And I was just like, well, oh crap, I'm gonna have to learn some stuff really quick. And I learned maybe a quarter of what I needed to.
That's when Jamie turned to his friend, neighbor, and former Palisade co-worker, Sean Pixel Forge Brennan, for guidance and assistance in color correcting and creating the spectacular effects to marry all the characters, elements, and assets together in perfect harmony.
Well, when Stuart was unable to come in at the end and do the final image compositing to, help sort of marry all these myriad of styles together into something that, looks like a coherent image, I was lucky enough to got to sort of assist him on some of that. It was he did all the work, but I sort of got to be sort of standing there, sort of behind his back, not really all the time, but I saw it often enough so that like he'd hear my comments enough, so it was kind of like that.
As the anniversary of Tough Pigs drew near and the premiere of the mural loomed large, anticipation grew exponentially.
There was buzz.
So for your 20th year, what else can we look forward to maybe of other exciting things that you guys are doing to celebrate?
Well, really, I think this is going to be like the highlight of the 20th anniversary. This incredible art project. It's being head up by our good friend James Carroll, who, if you're in the Muppet fandom world, you would recognize his work. He designed the Muppetational Mosaic t-shirt, which is a picture of Kermit the Frog, Kermit's head, and then inside of Kermit is literally hundreds of drawings of different Muppets. You would probably recognize some of his other artwork.
He's worked on a lot of Muppet licensed projects.
Yeah, he was on the Palisades team way back.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Super talented guy. So
I was gonna say Palisades and
and he is art directing a piece for us where we've recruited, I believe, around 70 Muppet fan artists who we have worked with over the years, or we just know, outside of the website. And James has created this amazing backdrop of the Muppet Theater and 123 Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock all kind of together in one image. And then we're having all these artists draw one or two Muppets that we're placing into the backdrop to make this epic Muppet mural.
But one final problem that made the whole project feel almost cursed came after everything was finished.
It was really nice and mostly stress-free for me creating the mural. That whole process, as long as it was and as much as we did, for me personally, it was not very stressful until we launched it.
The day before the mural was to launch, Tough Pigs debuted a brand new, robust website design with a lot more coding on the back end.
Between that and the fact that once we launched the mural and people really started sharing it and celebrating it, and people were clicking on the site and going back, our traffic started to peak. And our web host didn't like that so much, and the site got shut down.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's been up 20 years, and then it broke the internet. But no.
Still learning all the new assets with the updated design, Tough Pigs remained down for a full week.
And that was really hard for me. This was supposed to be like a big celebration of our 20th anniversary, and all these incredibly talented people who were so generous with their time and their talent to be able to really contribute to this project. And suddenly we had nothing.
But as it turns out, all Muppet fans can be just as tenacious as a particular highly communicative art director, and the mural still managed to find celebration on social media where fans and the artists themselves showed off one truly great Muppet mural. And of course, eventually the mural found its way back to its proper home on Tough Pigs.
A part of me also kind of thinks like that's the Muppety way that it should go.
Community means so much to me, and it just like felt so in line with like the Muppets.
They couldn't do anything right either, despite their best intentions, despite having a strong community of talented folks. It was not likely that they were going to set out and succeed with the thing that they had originally intended. So, in true Muppet Show fashion, we are putting on a failure of a show, but by gum, we'll be back next week with more fun and laughs, we hope.
So, in the end, after 8 months of planning, hard work, and setbacks, one has to wonder, What does everyone think of the Great Muppet Mural?
The Great Muppet Mural is one of the greatest achievements in the history of artistic achievements.
I could not be more proud and more impressed by what these folks have created with this mural.
I'm just so proud of the whole thing.
Proud of how it turned out, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
I am so proud to be a part of it.
It's so exciting to be a part of that.
I was blown away. I was mesmerized. You're never prepared for something this big until you finally see it.
It's equal to the Sistine Chapel, The Last Supper, The Wizard of Id.
Look at a piece. I don't necessarily look at all the, or something that I've done or been a part of. I don't look at the nuts and bolts necessarily of it, and I don't look at the whole piece as much as I look at the experience of making it and the people that involved. And this involved a lot of people. And that's the thing that that inspires me about the mural, is that it created even more unique connections with these people.
Right away, I was analyzing it, discovering who drew what character, absorbing like all the Easter eggs and in-jokes people threw in and all the different art styles.
You have to study it because there's so many characters.
There's all these fun little interactions that I think goes back to what Jim was doing.
I look at it and I see love in every corner, with every character, with every interaction.
One of the things that I think people love about the Muppets, and I think the thing that hinders the Muppets as well, is that it is essentially this grasp toward nostalgia. It all comes down to the age-old quote, "You can never go back." When I look at this mural, this feels so classic, which is crazy because it has so many IPs that have gone on past Jim, past what we consider like those halcyon days of the Muppets, of Fraggle Rock, of Sesame Street. And it's somehow, just because of the love that all these super talented artists have for the characters, it just oozes a nostalgia and warmth that actually makes me and takes me back.
Having young artists, who are just starting out with their brilliant work and their efforts, next to these classic artists as well, and having it all just share the same space. My thought is Jim Henson would love this idea.
It's an incredible badge of honor as a longtime Muppet fan and fan artist. 12-year-old me would be over the moon.
It's almost kind of hard to describe in words. I mean, it's perhaps one of the most amazing projects that I've ever asked to be a part of, and I'm really glad that I was asked.
I've been part of smaller collaborations before, but much smaller.
I've been completely honored to not just share space in a mural with a lot of my favorite artists, and many of you truly are my favorite artists, but to know that my addition to this will live on forever and represent an important time in the history of this important fan site.
The final piece was absolutely incredible, and the way you guys put it together, just phenomenal.
It was more than I imagined it to be, and they, Kenny and Dave and Jamie just did an amazing job putting it all together. And I'm proud of what I drew, and they made it even better.
Jamie Carroll and Dave Hultine and Kenny Durkin are all geniuses.
And to wrangle that many egos, that many artists, and to come up with something that big, both you and him, I have no idea how the hell he did it.
I love this mural. I love seeing the names of so many people I recognize from my time as creative director for the Sesame Street product division. Also, so many of the new names of people who have contributed their talent and their art to remembering Jim Henson, and I thank them all.
Oh my gosh, this thing is amazing. Wow. Wow. This is spectacular. Wow. Just wow. You got everybody and then some. This is the kind of thing where every time you look at it, you're going to find something new. Thank you for sharing this with the world.
It's such an incredible, I really can't find the words. Just thank you so much for your dedication to detail. And I'm really glad that there's some wings on there that I recognize. amazing work.
I love everything about it. The artwork is fantastic. But what I really like about it is that you've completely embodied the fun and the joy in work that Jim Henson liked to infuse in all of his own work as well. His work with the guys, and he uses that term generically, was part of what made working for him so much fun. So you guys have made something really miraculous, something really fun, and something really funny by playing off of each other's strengths, by trying to make each other laugh. I think Jim Henson would be really proud of that.
This is truly fascinating. I'm looking at this amazing piece of art with all of these artists that have contributed, and it's unbelievable, just beautiful. And so all the different styles, but yet they all kind of go together so beautifully.
What I love about the Great Muppet Mural is all of the different artists' styles that are combined into make this fantastic mural, and they all go together, even though there are such different styles. And also, as a kid, I would have loved to have seen this in a museum.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody who loves so much what Jim created.
This is 100% just a highlight of my tenure with toughpigs.com.
Happy 20 years, Tough Pigs.
I hope they have another great 20 years.
Happy anniversary, Tough Pigs.
Happy 20th, Tough Pigs.
Happy 20th anniversary, Tough Pigs.
Happy anniversary, and thank you.
The only reason that we get to do the things that we can do is because you are watching it and you are appreciating it. So thank you to all of those Muppet fans out there. We hope you liked it, and we hope that we can continue to bring you more quality Muppet content in the future.
Congratulations to all the artists who came together in the true spirit of the characters and their creator, Jim Henson. Showing a ragtag group of good-hearted souls can make something truly beautiful. I'm Lucas Ross, and you've just watched the making of The Great Muppet Mural. Yay! Now, how do I get out of here?
They should put that in the documentary!
It was so exciting being asked to blah, 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 blah.
Is this the largest group you've ever managed?
Oh, good God, at least by 2, yes.
I almost spit out some potato chip, or did I? Now I know why Billy gets so mad at me when I eat on camera.
No, you did a fantastic job. Absolutely did a fantastic job.
Oh, my fishing for a compliment worked. Awesome, thank you.
Well, I was just telling Dave how big of a fan I am of him, and I wanted to tell you as well. I'm a really big fan of Dave.
You're really messing things up here.
Wait. So we're not having the Swedish chef do that? I didn't say it.
I didn't say it.
I was thinking it. I didn't say it.
And Leo is just telling Grump about how internet morale has been off the charts since Tough Pigs viewership has gone even bigger and bigger in the last 20 years alone.
You're getting old.
I feel like I've been there for a while.
Yeah, I think I remember them, and frankly, I was a little foggy.
Exaggerated, my God, Joe.
Why did I draw the characters that I drew? Because they were assigned to me. No, I'm just kidding. They were assigned to me.
Oh, it says on here, if you don't like Joe, keep this button clicked.
It was not at all, but he genuinely said to me, I know you didn't want to do the podcast, is it giving me the finger? And I was like, no. Which it really wasn't.
Probably not even going to include that.
What do cows like to paint? Murals.
It was just really, really sweet. And I was like, oh, I'm old.
Stop showing your butt to the camera.
See, she can dance. She dances.
They're not in a hurry.
Chilling down with the fella.
Jamie is actually texting me. I need to.
Jamie's texting me now.
Speak of the devil. Jamie's texting me.
It's finished. It's finished, Jamie. You can't work on it anymore. It's done.
Hey.
More and more, I'm like, he's so good for this because the gravitas you're giving this piece of shit documentary is so.
No. With a project as large as the Great Muppet Mural, problems were bound to arise. What the team was not expecting were just how many hurdles they'd need to overcome, especially so close to the deadline. It's like a Dateline special on a Muppet picture. Isn't that what this is? Okay. Am I in trouble? Oh, yeah. Come and sit down, Kermit. We have some things we want to talk to you about.
Oh, shit, are we recording this?
That should do it.